Hey, hey! Hi, welcome to YOLO with ToLo. Okay,
Hello.
what's up? It's a little bit different today because there's no split C
There's
screens.
no split
Look,
screen,
look,
right?
in
We're
the
like,
flesh.
Hanging out in the ATL. We've had a wonderful couple of days. I am like the worst tour guide in my own city because I don't ever leave my house. He's like telling me where to
you did
go.
a good job. Well,
Okay.
you know what I always do when I travel? Here's a travel tip. Well, you should be giving the travel tip because you fly so much and travel so much. But here's a tip: is like I always talk to the locals. I always get free stuff. We just
Well, yeah, that's true. Now that part is good because we did get some free stuff today.
But
That
not
was awesome.
not just because you get free stuff, but it's just always great to like ask people, hey, always nice to ask people like, hey, what would, this is my favorite question when I travel. What is your one thing that you would take people to or treat people to eat if they only had one meal here? And then people are like, oh, you should go here or you should go there. And I love that because then you kind of get like kind of local perspective. I just hate, not that I'm bashing on these like, travel zoo stuff because I use it too.
Right.
But sometimes people maybe don't have the same
Right,
kind of
you don't have the same taste and same
taste, yeah.
experiences. Sometimes you just don't have the same vibe or flavor.
Yeah, but
So-
we had so much fun. So yesterday I met up with Lonnell. We went to eat at Ponce City Market, and for those of you guys that don't know what Ponce City is, it's really like this old building that has
Yeah,
been
I
redid.
think it was a department store for years, and then it was abandoned for years.
Yeah, and the people that created Chelsea Market, which is like an indoor food court in New York.
In New York.
Yeah, set that up. So we had some good ramen there.
Yep.
And then he took me on like a little drive in and around. And one of the things that I really wanted to see, I don't know if y'all have been, hey Kevin, is I wanted to go see where Martin Luther King Jr.
Right, so you gotta take the peeps
Was
to the
born.
historical stuff.
Yeah, so it was cool to see like the little clubs around there, to see the old was it Ebenezer Baptist Church, and it's just like all the history that has happened in and around this area.
Right, and there's a lot of
It's amazing.
gentrification in the neighborhood, so it's an interesting how they're kind of marrying the history with the modern age. But I don't know, I'm still like I would like for them to preserve as much of it as they can.
Yeah.
But also I realize time moves on, and so they need to find a sweet spot of marrying it. And so far, I think it's working okay. But I don't live down there, so people that live there might feel differently. I don't know.
Yeah, and so the cool thing was that like we're there and it's like you're walking back into history, and like we were saying that you can actually feel the vibes.
Yes.
Like you said,
Yeah.
like the
I
walls.
was like, these walls could definitely talk.
If the
and,
walls could talk, baby. Yeah.
I'm sure they have stories walking up and down those streets. for
Yeah,
sure.
it was just
Sure.
kind of eerie and amazing because I think like after this like Earthsuit, Gary Zukav, one of my favorite writers who wrote Seed of the Soul, says we're in these earth suits. So I really believe that we're just energy and we're not in these earth suits, these things with skin. But they're still roaming around, so it's kind of cool to like feel that energy. But anyway, for those of you guys that are joining us for the first time, what is YOLO with ToLo?
It is like you only live your life once. I'm Lonnell, this is Toan, he's the toe, I'm the low.
Oh.
And
Ta-da.
basically we are just having conversations weekly, kind of just
Every Wednesday night, 7:00 Pacific.
that we attempt based on
We
like
attempt.
where in the heck I might be with my schedule, but that is the standard time. Basically we just have these conversations talking about just life, spiritual principles that we apply. We learn a lot. My favorite part is the viewer engagement
Yes.
and getting your questions, and we just kind of have dialogue about that, and you guys participate in this, and it just kind of expands our tribe, and we're going to talk a little more about tribes in a bit.
Oh, yes. And so essentially the cool thing I love about this is one of my favorite things is we have 4 segments. But one of my favorite segments is Talk to ToLo. But usually we start off with like a ToLo's topic, a hot topic or two that's happening that we kind of talk about and then share ideas about. And then you guys kind of chime in and we chat with you. And then the second one is called Dump the Hump, where since we talk on Wednesdays.
Right, and you try to get through that. That's usually midweek, and you're like, okay, I need a recharger because how am I going to get to Friday, child? How am I going to get to Friday? And so, but with that, we kind of find little practices and little ways to actually dump the hump.
And really like see the silver lining in all the challenges that you're
Right.
facing. We talk a lot about how everything is here to teach you something, and if you don't learn it, it comes back in different ways, shapes, and forms and situations, and again and again and again.
Larger and heavier and heavier and heavier until you get it.
Yes. And then the third segment is one of my true favorites, is Talk to ToLo, where we engage with you guys, but live. here on Facebook. But also the cool thing about this segment is a lot of people actually end up watching in different time zones.
Right.
So that you could replay this, for example, even though we're going live, and rewatch it and see people's comments. But our show's theme the following week is based upon the questions that you guys ask us. We like to pay attention and see what the patterns are.
Right.
And then we're like, oh, okay, so one time we talked about spirituality. So we had a lot of questions about how you found your spirituality, spiritual practice, clarity and focus.
Clarity and focus was huge.
Huge.
And
change. Yeah, change.
Adapting to change and embracing change,
Yes.
and oftentimes encouraging change.
Yes, which is really hard. And the fourth segment is the digital detox.
That's my least favorite, but that means that's the area where I have the most work to do personally.
Yes. So today we're gonna just have sort of like a free flow.
Well, you can tell them what the detox.
Oh,
what the digital detox is. It's kind of
It's just what digital detox is just what it sounds like. It's like ways that we can all share with each other, and life hacks on how to not use your
phones
phones and computers and screens so much. Hey, Jack. And so we're here in Inman Park in Atlanta, and we're doing this special show because we're live here in the flesh usually.
Because we're usually split screen, like you said at the top
I'm in
of
San
the
Francisco.
show.
He's here. And I just want you guys to know, I'm not going to move the camera because I'm going to mess up the situation here, but we're in this beautiful park. However, it does sound like there's somebody peeing right behind us, and that is a fountain. That is
a fountain. It's not somebody like with limitless urination skills. No, it's like but no, there's a beautiful fountain back there, so that's why.
And so today's theme is...
Hey, Leo. He's watching too.
Oh, hey, Leo. Leo the Pomeranian. You got to check out our Instagram, 3LWTV and Toan Lamb TV, or just look on Facebook, YOLO With ToLo. The cutest Pomeranian ever. I call him my nephew. Anyway, so today's theme is based upon a conversation that we've had a lot, actually with some people here, but also online. Privately, people have been messaging us, and even on our wall. And the topic is truth. I have a podcast called Truth Dare Talk, and I believe that we all have a truth, and in that truth there is a power that you have that you're here to share with the world. It could be your baking skills, your fashion skills, your math skills, your reading and writing skills, communication skills, but it's up to us to discover and activate this like skill or superhero power. But it's really, a lot of times it comes in challenges, whether it's if you're gay or if you love fashion and your parents push you. Like my parents are Asian, so they're like, But that's mostly most people of color, but most cultures really, right?
Right, yes.
So today, one of my favorite things to say to people is trust your truth, and I dare you. And let's get to the root of that, because that is the hardest thing. And even Jack, who's watching right now, Jacqueline, she always talks about like, oh gosh, it's so hard to like, how do you like find that truth? And then like the hardest thing is to follow it, because it's not as easy as it sounds.
No, it's not.
Kind of like Pollyanna's like, follow your truth, yay.
Yay.
And truth set you free, right?
But yeah, and getting to that truth is a process, and it's a process that you have to trust, and a lot of people don't even know how to trust the process. But it's just baby steps, one thing after another. But you just have to I think you have to really just know what you're capable of or what you're entitled to, and a lot of us don't. And you're entitled to it all. There is like limitless joy.
Yes.
But joy is a process. It's
abundance,
it's a job. There's limitless
opportunity, love.
If you believe in lack and limitation, then that's what your world,
that's
your
what you're
life
inviting.
Experience will reflect that.
But let's talk about the process really quick. So I also like to say your truth, it's like, listen to your body. Like people are like, well, what is your truth, right? And it's like, if you know that you're gay, or you know that you love fashion and your parents are pushing you into the sciences or whatever, like your gut is telling you something. Like your energy goes down. Like I pay a bookkeeper to do my books and receipts and all that. And I know there's apps and whatnot, but it's a way to hold me accountable. And Bobby's amazing. And I know that my truth is I just don't really like numbers that much.
Right.
And so I love to read, write, and talk. So in following that truth, it was hard because like I wanted to be a journalist. I wanted to run scripts to LeVar Burton on Reading Rainbow. Some of you guys may be too young to know LeVar. But I always wanted to run scripts to him, and I ended up co-hosting a show and then made my way into TV. But that was a process that was very hard. And let's talk about the processes real quick, because I love the show. What I love about the show is not just we're kind of spitting out wisdom and dropping wisdom, but we're also sharing crowdsourcing wisdom from y'all. And so we were just met up to talk about what we're going to talk about today. And we were like, let's pay attention to the patterns. And there are like about 5 steps.
The first one, I think the first thing you need to do is realize that you need where you are in the process. If you're sitting in a cubicle at a job,
get real,
that you just absolutely hate,
and you have stomach aches
you're
going
in a
to work.
Relationship that you dread going home to see this individual. Those are not coincidences, right? It's like, so well, first of all, I think it's just assess where you are right now. Because you're somewhere in the process. You're in the process on a journey to hell, and by hell I mean right here and right now.
Yes.
Not living in a state of joy. And joy is, when I say a state of joy, I don't mean like emotional joy, happy, but a state of contentment and peace. And so, first I think you need to do is just assess where you are in the process and understand that where I am is okay, and be truthful with yourself, because a lot of times we try to numb ourselves.
That's the hardest part, is saying I'm okay with where I'm at, even though you may be at this job where you don't like, but I'd say count the blessings and say, this is paying for me to do what I need to do now, but taking those baby steps to get to that next stage. Like if you want to write a book, maybe you write for 30 minutes or an hour a day, or a week, or whatever you have, right? So I think intention, like what you told Jack earlier, Jacqueline, and you've told people, is setting the intention, and that's really the root of it, right?
Right.
If you think about a tree growing.
Right. So once you're in the process and you realize this is not working for me, then if I want to get somewhere else, where am I trying to get to?
Yes.
And then what is the then, like you were saying, just set forth an intention at that particular point. What to get from here to here? Why do I want to be in this new place? And what is my intention? What do I plan to do? And how do I plan to utilize my platform in that space once I arrive there? Because some people just want, I just want more money to pay my bills, or I want more money to travel, and totally missing the point, because money's not the only way that you can attain those things. So I can't tell you all the stuff that I've gotten for free, or it wasn't even through coincidence.
It's like the social collateral or social currency we were talking about, right?
And once you know that and you tap into that and you stop trying to control, because for me it was always like, stop trying to tell God how to bless me.
Yes.
Because I would always say,
and it's not in your time either.
Right.
Yes.
I'd say like, okay, well, if I want a new car, then I need more money. I need a raise so that I can raise more money to get this car. And I'm like, no, just speak the answer. Like, I want, I'm looking at this particular vehicle, and then I just surrender and let it go. And like, okay, you said
that's hard. That's the hard part.
It's very hard.
Yeah. So let's step back for a
hard.
second. So we talked about intention, and then after you set that intention, whatever it may be, finding a new job, getting that car, a new opportunity to serve in a different capacity. It's really like the taking action, I think, is the second step, right? It's like take baby steps. As long as you're moving forward, taking baby steps, doors will close, but then the right ones will open up. And it's not the doors that you may think. It might come in disguise.
Right, and that's where you surrender to the process, because you got to be
that
open to things that are outside
that's
the scope of your
That's the next step, is
television.
Also surrendering and letting it be. And a good mentor of mine said, he said, when you hold on, you get dragged. So if you're holding on to a man that did you wrong, or this job and your boss is a jerk, how about flipping the script and saying, for me, I've had some jerk bosses who are like, who are we going to scare today? We have all been there. So I have always said, thank you for teaching me something. What are you here to teach me? You're here to teach me that, I'm betraying myself and misusing my powers of being able to communicate and lift and shift people with stories and connecting with you. So thank you, and it's time for me to move forward. And it is scary because knowing the why is important, but the how we don't really know.
Yeah,
and one of my friends,
and it's not your job to know the how. That's what surrender is. It's not your job.
That
to
is
know
the hardest
how.
part. One of my favorite things that a friend of mine told me is Princess Torello. She's a real princess in the South African nation, the Bafokeng nation, and she said that one of her spiritual teachers had told her, Torello, God doesn't let you see yourself, your future in its fullness, because you would get scared. And if you were to tell me that I would have done everything I've been able to do in my professional life or even personal life, I would have been scared, to do it. But taking those baby steps, and the interesting thing is, like, I love your quote that you were saying that Oprah had told you, like the coincidences.
Yeah, there are none.
Yeah.
There are none.
Yeah, and that's one of the hardest things, is like to like we said, set your intention, take your action, surrender, and then the hardest thing too is like not being attached to the outcome.
Yeah, and it's kind of like planting a garden or watering your spiritual garden. You need to plant the seeds.
I like that.
And once you plant the seeds, then you just
Spiritual garden.
you have to water them. And so your seeds don't manifest into a harvest overnight.
Yeah.
It's a process.
Nothing happens overnight.
Nothing
I think
happens
that's
overnight.
a misnomer. That's like the American Idol phenomenon. They think, oh,
and that
tomorrow
doesn't
night.
happen overnight.
No.
It
These
may
people have been
appear
singing
that
for
way,
days.
right?
Yeah.
But that doesn't happen overnight either. And I think just in the culture that we live in today with technology, everything is
Fast.
expected instantaneously. And then when you get something instantaneously, you don't appreciate it, and oftentimes you end up losing it because of that. So you definitely have to. I always say plant the emotional seeds. Like every job that I've ever left,
Plant the emotional seed.
that I've hated. And there have only been a couple because I don't really stay at those jobs long. But there have been a couple, and I was like, this is not working. This check is cute. These coins are cute, but this is not working. And so it's not like I'm going to walk in and quit my job, but I do actually say, okay, I got to see myself somewhere else. Because sometimes just transplanting myself mentally out of that space actually helps to navigate the day while I'm still in this place that I know I've reached the maximum that I can take here. And before I've known it, every single time when I've applied that, something else has opened up that I didn't expect. I did not expect.
Things have come to us, right?
Yeah.
Like we were just
Every
saying over
time.
breakfast, like your job that you have now, everything from my teaching gigs to my reporting, my show hosting gigs, like have come naturally.
Everything
Isn't
has
that
come
amazing? Like in the flow. But it's hard because actually one of the questions that came to us last week is from somebody that is a friend of YOLO's, and she wants to be anonymous, but she says, I have a problem trusting, and I'm scared of moving forward because being in the flow scares me. Like she was like literally said, Toan, not knowing where my next paycheck comes, like you, because I do motivational speaking, and I don't get like a every 2 week big paycheck. It just comes in different ways, shapes, and forms, and that's hardest. But I've been doing this for like 11, 12 years, and it always just shows up.
How many nights have you been hungry?
Never.
Right. See, because that's the way it works. If you apply those principles, and it's easier said than done. Because don't get me wrong, if you've got a disconnect notice coming up in 2 weeks,
you better figure out how to pay.
Today you lost your job. It's like, well, wait a minute now. This is not. But you're gonna either, I've said this before, you have to choose faith or fear.
I love that.
And if you're if you're in that situation and you're going to choose fear, then all of that
you see
chaos
fear.
is going to
everywhere.
It's going to compound.
Yep.
So if you choose faith and to know that you're okay, and that's a hard thing to do,
That
but
is
to
the
really
hardest.
know that you are okay. Once you really
The
accept
truth.
that and embrace that, those things gradually will just
Show up.
manifest. And you don't have to force them.
Yeah.
You just have to be open because, like I said, you can't. You're looking like, okay, well, my bill is right here, and I need money to get here for this disconnect. But out here is all kinds of stuff that you're not seeing. So when you surrender and kind of open up to the process, you don't have tunnel vision. You're like, oh, I've never thought about that. How?
Yeah. Is that a Native American quote that says leap and the net will appear? I love that quote so much, don't you? It's like leap and the net will appear. But I ain't trying to say just leap and quit your job if you got kids to feed, but to do a calculated leap and a calculated risk of saying, okay, well, I know I can't quit my tech job and bake cookies all the time every single day and feed my kids, but maybe you start doing it once a week and start giving it away and sharing that joy. And I think the basis of going back to the setting your intentions to find your truth is your truth. You are the truth. You people are like the truth shall set you free and all these like things. But really, it does, but in your heart, in your gut, like if you're going to your job and you have a stomach ache. Oh, Shan, love you too. If you're...
You're right. You're not supposed to be going there.
Yeah, if your man did you wrong and makes you feel like crap all the time. So you just know that.
Because it's familiar or comfortable and you're used to it. But you deserve better, and you deserve better.
That's a whole nother show. But this is I think one of the... we talked about 5 different things, right? Setting your intention, action, surrender, don't be attached to the outcome. I think this is one of the most important
and
ones.
I like what
Tracy
says. You have to choose faith. You do. I agree, Tracy, girl.
Same
you have to choose faith if you want any sanity in this life.
Right, exactly. Leap and the net will appear, attributed to John Burroughs. Kevin, our production coordinator, says an American naturalist and nature essayist. Thank you for that. And the last step is to keep you kind of sustained is to find people like this.
Yeah, you got to find your tribe.
Your tribe.
You've got to find your tribe.
And people that help you keep going, and for you to just say, you know what, no matter what, if I tell you, oh, I want to do a talk show, or when I was younger, I was like, I want to be a TV reporter. And very few people become TV reporters because it's harder than being an actor. Like every city or market, they call it, has about 5 stations, and there's like 30, 40 different jobs on air. And I'm not good at math, even though I'm Asian. But I know that there's like 150, like less than 200 jobs, and there's not a lot out there. But I knew that if I set that intention and it matched my authenticity and I got excited about it, and I wanted to use that talent of storytelling, connecting with people to help, like it shall show itself up. And I've never had a problem. Every single time it showed up.
And if you believe, like people that, they say like want to go to the NFL and there's only a certain number of jobs here and most people are not going to make it. Now, if you buy into that, then you're not going to make it. But if you have that drive, just like you do with being a reporter.
And talent.
And the talent. Yeah, you got to have the talent too. Like, somewhat based
I love me some Adele, and I think I sing, I think I sing Someone Like You really well, but maybe just in the shower by myself. But I know that I can never be on American Idol because you do not want to hear that. They will lose their ratings. But I know that I love to talk, right? And
that's what you need. And you have to. So once you know that, and you have the drive and you have the talent, you just keep moving in that direction. And you may not get to the NFL or the American Idol stage or to the TV reporting, but that drive and that is going to drive you in the direction that you're supposed to go.
Yes. And
when you arrive there, it may not be what you originally planned, but it will definitely be fulfilling.
And story after story, through my journalism career and even through my podcast, The Truth Dare, I have encountered the same situation of all the people that I've interviewed. For example, one of the women that I've talked to, her name is Ari Afsar, and she plays, you just saw Hamilton in Chicago as well. And she plays Eliza Hamilton, and she said that she got on American Idol, and she made it like to the top teens, right? And she really wanted it bad, and she was only 16 at the time. And guess what? The door slammed in her face. She didn't win, and she said she felt like the world was ending. It crumbled. But like we said, hey now. Speaking of Chicago, she's in Chicago. Hey, Chicago, Windy City. So she was so devastated, but she kept doing the work, finding different jobs, seeing what worked, and guess what happened? She ended up
in the hottest musical phenomenon in years.
Was she said that she heard from somebody that they were casting for Hamilton, and she had never been on Broadway, and she was like, you know what? I'm gonna try out because I can't afford to see the musical.
Right.
And then B, you just can't get tickets even if you have the money. And so she was like, so the best way is just to try out for the part. She tried out. Lin-Manuel loved her, and boom, she got the part. And what I love is this is, I think, 2.0 of this whole trust conversation we're having, is using your platform, your talents, to help other people. And I think that's when you really soar. I mean, like, even if you think, like, I was a big Oprah watcher as a kid. I've watched pretty much almost every episode. And she didn't become Oprah until she actually said, one day, TV's using me, I'm going to use TV to do good instead. And Ari uses...
And was met with a lot of resistance.
A lot. But she was just like, I'm done with just like, having the KKK on my show and other things that might you think would bring in ratings. So Ari uses her platform. She's like, I don't know if this is going to end today or tomorrow. She's Weissel. She's only 26 or 27 now, but she was like, I know that it could end tomorrow, so I'm going to use this to help shed light on the ACLU and equality issues. And I just love that. And when you do share and you care, the universe shares and cares with you. I tell my niece and nephew that, and I tell people that all the time. It's when you share and care, like, things just kind of show up.
They show up,
right?
They always show up.
And there's sort of like a magic. But going back to that question that somebody had asked us, I have a problem trusting. I'm scared of moving forward. It scares me. My advice is just to take baby steps.
Yeah, definitely take baby steps, and don't put undue pressure on yourself. That's, again, goes back to the whole process and the importance of a tribe. You've got to have people around you who support your vision. And I always say this: take direct stock in the people in your life. The 5 people closest to you in your life.
Yes. Ooh, this is good. Yes.
Count the 5 people that are closest to you and look at them and how their lives are, because they are a direct reflection of your level of consciousness.
Yes.
They are. So if they are not about SHIT and you're always hanging out with this crowd and you're always about nothing or negative Nellies.
Or talking crap about other people.
Right, all that stuff. And it's like, well, why are these people around me? Because that is where your consciousness is at that point. And that's going to be tough to do.
Oh, that's hard.
It's tough to deal with. But I tell you, once you start to make that shift mentally, those people will leave your lives voluntarily.
Yeah.
You don't have to push them out.
And it's happened to me a lot. Malik says, tune in to see if your network is mentioning the Billboard Icon Award recipient.
Oh, but of course, Malik, Miss Janet Jackson tonight.
Oh,
receiving
hey.
the Icon Award for Billboard. Absolutely. That's why I'll be done at 8 o'clock, and I will definitely be in touch in front of the television. Because she is someone who has actually influenced my life for many, many generations. That's how old I am. We are.
We are.
Well, we're holding up. But yes, so Janet tonight at the Billboard, absolutely, I'll be tuning in for that.
Oh, I will too. Well, I'll be on the plane, but I'll watch again online. But Kevin says, light, not shade. Ooh, that's good.
Light, not shade.
Ooh,
That is
I
good.
like that.
That is
Hashtag
very
light,
good.
not shade. I like that. I'm going to use that for sure. And another question. Malik's so funny with your... I love emojis, don't you?
Yes.
And the other question was from somebody anonymous. How do I start to change or make a shift in my life and trust that truth?
Again, it's back to taking stock that you obviously, if you're asking that question, you realize that you need to make a change. And then it's just like, you just have to, what's next? What's the next right move? Don't try to leap from the cellar to the attic. You've got to take,
Take the steps.
Take the steps.
steps.
So it's like, what's the next right move? What is the next right move? Just focus on that, and then you'll inch forward and inch forward and inch forward, and then before you know it, the whole paradigm has shifted. But it's a process, and you just have to do it incrementally. You can't just expect it to happen overnight.
And Chen, you're watching from New York. We've talked a lot about like trusting the process, and there's a maturation rate that happens. Like when I was in a smaller, the way TV news works is you go to a smaller market where you can do mess ups a lot, not a lot of people watching. But when you go to the medium size and the large markets like New York and San Francisco where I ended up at TV reporting, there's more money because there's more advertising dollars and such, right? And you have to trust that process. There's no way I could just leap from San Francisco and just start there, but you have to incrementally start the baby steps,
right?
And then as time progresses, there's a maturation rate that happens. I love the term, like, and it's widely used. It's like, in God's time, it's not in your time,
right?
Which is also hard because
that is hard.
So many people give up. One of my favorite books is Paulo Coelho's The Alchemist. He talks about everybody has a personal legend.
Right.
I call it truth and power. That's what you call it your light. Everybody has that, but he says that truth or that legacy that he calls it, or whatever you call it, that dream. Like, people usually give up right before it happens.
Right before it happens, yeah.
And that's why you need this
that's why you need somebody,
tribe.
right? And that's why you need the tribe
accountability
to remind,
partners.
No, keep going, keep going. So again, take stock of those people in your life, in your immediate circle, the 5 closest friends or whatever.
That's a really good
understand.
feedback.
And I bet you they're all similar
tutelage
because they are direct reflections of your level of consciousness. They just are.
Yeah. And how do you know if they are or aren't? It's like when you hang out with them and you leave, do you feel like A, you wasted your time? Because we've been in those situations. Or B, you just feel lower energy and super tired, or do you feel like super excited? And that's how the genesis of this YOLO with ToLo started.
Right.
And for the people that don't know, let's give a little bit of background. How
I was going to say, do you feel used or enthused when you're done with your people? Because it needs to be one or the other.
Ooh.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. What were you saying?
No. So used or enthused. Speaking of that, like, I've always felt enthused after hanging out with you. And Lonnell and I were like soul brothers, but we had only met like maybe like 5 months ago or so.
Yeah, not even a year yet. Yes.
And it was a crazy story. So we're here in Atlanta. I'm based out of San Francisco. He's based in Atlanta. My buddy Gary said, you got to meet one of my good friends, Laura, in LA. So I was like, I had a shoot for my podcast, video shoot, and I was about to get on the highway going back to San Francisco, and he called me and he was like, hey, I want you to meet Laura. You'd love her. I was like, okay. My gut told me, even though it was late, and I was like, I don't want to. It's 7 at the time, and I was like, well, I don't want to get back like at 2 or 3 in the morning, my logical side, but I followed my heart. And then I was like, okay, I'm gonna go. And then I like loved Laura. We talked for an hour and a half or so, and then she was like, you know what, your energy, like you, and she was just about to say, you need to meet Lonnell.
And I was in that same particular area with my girlfriend Shauna, who lives in that particular part of town. And we were walking up, and she said, "You need to try this particular restaurant."
Random.
That just opened. It's really cool. I said, "Cool, let's check it out." And walk in, and Laura's there, and Laura's like, "Oh my God, we were just mentioning you." And then that's how we connected.
Yeah.
And so here we are, divine order.
I know.
That's how these things happen.
And I know, and the way this show kind of came about too is we started FaceTiming, and then we met up when you went to visit your mom like 2.5 months ago. And she was in San Jose, but you met up in San Francisco with me. And then we talked, and after 3 hours, we're like, "Oh my God, we wish we could have recorded that." And we're like, "Wait a minute."
Well, we can.
I know. And then Kevin helped us come up, our production coordinator here helped us come up with YOLO with ToLo, You Only Live Once, with Toan and Lonnell, amalgam of our names. And then we were like, our goal is to make you, to entertain, but also to help you get through your challenges. Let you
and
know.
You help me get through mine.
Me too. And we help us get through each other.
Yeah.
And to let you know that you're not alone, and that there's hope. And that's really it. Really, and it's just been amazing because then Dee, who's a producer in LA, and she a TV producer, and she was like, "You guys, there's lots of good energy, but let me help you organize."
That whip.
she was like, "Y'all kind of a hot mess, but in a good way.
Yeah,
but let me help you create this into some really good hot topics and hot segments that you could do." And so now, this is like what.
Wednesdays
12th?
We try to go live 7 p.m. This is the 12th episode
12th
so far,
yeah.
And this is a special one just because we happen to be in the same
Yes.
town. So please be sure to like our page, share it if you're motivated by the conversations, but most importantly, engage.
Yes.
Send us your questions, what you agree with, what do you do to enhance your journey, and let's continue to build a community. Just
Yes.
build our tribe.
Yes. And trust.
Tribe with the tribe.
Oh, I like that. So many good ones. So I just encourage you to trust your truth and follow it with baby steps. I dare you.
I'm Lonnell Williams.
I'm Toan Lam, and this
We
is
love
YOLO with
y'all.
ToLo.
Have a
What's
wonderful
up?
one. Thanks for joining in. Definitely so.
Love you guys.
Next time we'll see you on different sides of the country.
I know, right? So Wednesday we'll see you at 7
Because I'll
o'clock
still
Pacific.
be in Atlanta and you'll be in Pacific. So
Maybe, who knows? Maybe you'll be.
I might be in New Orleans,
I
but I
know.
plan
We
to be
don't
in
know where
Atlanta.
you'll
But
be
who knows
at.
where I'll be?
I
I've just
know.
invited to New York too. So okay.
I know, right?
Love
Okay,
y'all.
love you guys. See you later.
Talk to you later.